and gentlemen, welcome to RENEBOXYOUNG, a platform where we simply discuss, critique, analyze, simply talk about sport of boxing in a level-headed, mature, coherent fashion. Subscribers since day one, recent subscribers, I appreciate everyone. Each and every one of you, thanks so much for tuning in to Flash Lives, premieres of the videos such as this, commenting in the comment sections of the videos, playback family, salute, thank guys so much, just for supporting all around. I appreciate y'all. If you're new to this platform, if you love the sport of boxing, this is the place for you. Share it up, subscribe it up, all that good stuff. You already know. I want to get to this man's video concerning Anthony Joshua. First and foremost, to lay a foundation and introduction. Anthony Joshua, I pushed content, concerning him throughout the years of this channel at least, and I like Anthony Joshua. I do. I definitely respect his spirit, his heart when it comes to the sport of boxing. Fighting Usyk twice, fighting Andy Ruiz twice, trying to get that get back. He got it in the rematch. Obviously he tried with Usyk, couldn't do it. He has that heart where he just pushes. He's consistent. He keeps going. Discipline. He has concerning what fighters should do. I'm not saying he's perfect, of course not, but it's not common to see fighters go back, for the get back, in rematches. Sometimes they lose and they just disappear for a year and a half, and that's it, and they're not the same anymore. Anthony Joshua, man, he loses and he wants to get you back. He goes for the get back and he trains hard for it, It seems like he doesn't get carried away in that party lifestyle. He's quite disciplined, man. He's quite disciplined. He's trying to get better, and I definitely respect that. I definitely respect that in Anthony Joshua, and those are one of the reasons why I like him. I do. Man fan, no. You already know how it is, man, with me concerning the platform. If you're new, like I said, if you're new here, man, and I constantly say this, if you're new, you check out the content, and we don't do that, here. But I definitely appreciate and exalt the qualities in fighters, and Anthony Joshua, those are the things that I definitely admire in him, man. And he recently said something I want to show you. He's talking about he wants to get that fire back, that fire, that passion back when it comes to the sport of boxing, when it comes to fighting. And I want to show you this, man. So check this out. Here on boxingscene.com, link in the description, you already know. He was interviewed recently, right? And he said here, quote, he wants to get my fighting spirit back. Get my fighting spirit back, unquote. I want to scroll down just a little bit. I mean, he said several things, but he also said this. The article says here, saying that he is focused on reclaiming his quote-unquote warrior spirit. So that's what I want to focus on in this video. And I want to kind of question it and ask you. I want to ask you more like, do you think he can get his spirit back? Do you think he can get that warrior spirit back, that fire back? It's hard to say, man, because now, if you go back some time, you already know he has lined up this Dillian Whyte fight. As far as my opinion on this fight against Dillian Whyte, Dillian Whyte is just, I respect it. I respect Dillian Whyte. He's like Derrick, man. He don't care. He just fights and fights and fights and fights and fights and Derrick Chisora, man, he just fights. He doesn't care if he loses. He don't care how many times he loses. He just keeps fighting, and hey, his promoter, his manager, whatever, they keep getting him fights. So hey, it is what it is, right? I kind of see Dillian Whyte like that. You know what I'm saying? Dillian Whyte. And why did they choose this guy for his next fight? I don't know. I guess it's just to keep, Anthony Joshua warmed up. I must say this, though, because it's Dillian Whyte. Anthony Joshua, when he fought him the first time, which was a long time ago, what, 5-6 years ago, that Anthony Joshua, that version, this is what I'm going to get at here, man. That version of Anthony Joshua was the Anthony Joshua, the best in my humble opinion. He just, that's what he needs. And I think that's why he lost against Andy Ruiz. Something happened. I don't know what it was. There's no excuses. He lost fair and square. Andy did a wonderful job in beating Anthony Joshua, man. That was a wonderful job. I think it was in Madison Square Garden, New York. Anthony Joshua's demeanor didn't seem the same. That fight spirit didn't seem the same. When you see Anthony Joshua in previous fights against Klitschko also, that Anthony Joshua, man, was the Anthony Joshua, the dog in him. You can definitely see it. You can definitely see the dog in him. Anthony Joshua has power. I believe he does, man. He hits you hard. He goes for you. He gets hit. He's going for the get back in that ring, He did that wonderfully against Dillian Whyte. Now, can he get that back, though? That's the question. I personally think, man, ever since the Andy Ruiz, ever since he lost that first fight against Andy Ruiz, it seems like that dog kind of left him. That's like the heart of what I want to talk about in this video, you know? It seems like the heart of that warrior spirit, that fight spirit and Anthony Joshua that he had, it seemed like it left him. Now, you see this in fighters, man, constantly, time and time again. This is the case. We gotta make this clear. This is not a case of where you get beat up, right? You get beat. For example, J-Rock. J-Rock's another example. You got, you know, Adrian Broner. He's another example. There are examples out there where a fighter gets beat, and he gets beat to a degree where it seems like something's taken from them. You know, J-Rock, yeah, some people may come to his defense and say, yeah, well, when Charlo knocked him out, you know, after that, he started getting some wins. He beat Hurd. Of course, you know, J-Rock, it doesn't take the skills away from these fighters, man. These guys got skills. Adrian Broner got freaking skills. J-Rock got skills. And there are other examples out there. But something was taken away from these guys. Anthony Joshua, something was taken away from him. And I think it was just that. It was that fighter spirit, man. Ever since he lost to Andy Ruiz, it seemed like Andy Ruiz took that from Anthony Joshua, which is crazy. And that's the fight game, man. And that's one of the things that interests me when it comes to the fight game. Seeing fighters, how they're coming up, they're doing wonderful. Then they get beat in a manner where it's just, they get beat hard. And then they try coming back and they don't look the same. They come back and they don't look the same, you know, in their consecutive fights. Anthony Joshua hasn't seemed the same. Now, I gotta respect this, man. He keeps trying. He keeps pushing, you know. And in the context of what he said there in those quotes that we just saw, he says he don't really care about the money anymore. Now, if you follow Anthony Joshua and other interviews that he's had and build-ups to other fights or whatever, he talked about, you know, I love money, I'm here to make my money and this and that, whatever. I don't quote him, but, you know, those who follow Anthony Joshua know his mindset was that. But now with this interview, this recent lead up to this fight and this Dillian Whyte fight, he says he's not in it for the money, man. He just wants to get that fight spirit back. And I believe him. I believe him. Why? Because he's trying to get better. Fans out there, you know, doesn't mean that I sign on to what all these fans say out here, you know? Because fans, you know, sometimes fans say, oh, you know, this fighter ought to change this coach. And, you know, he sucked. This coach sucks now. Now he has to change to another coach because his coach can't teach him anymore, you know? And when Anthony Joshua does it, you know, Anthony Joshua's never going to change, and, you know, he just reached his limit. I mean, why are you changing your coach? You were doing better with your other coach. I mean, you know, anything comes out from fans. I personally think, this is why I believe, you know, Anthony Joshua in saying that he's trying to get that fight spirit back, man. Because now he's with Derrick James. Derrick James, man, amazing coach. I think he's one of the best coaches out there right now in the fight game, man. I mean, there's a lot of coaches out there, of course, but I think Derrick James is, he's the real deal, man. He's a really good coach. He's an amazing coach. Look what he's doing with Mel. Look what he's doing with Spence. Now you got Ryan Garcia there. And that's awesome. I think there's growth for Ryan Garcia with Derrick James. I think it's wonderful that Ryan went to Derrick James. Anthony Joshua went to Derrick James. You got Frank Martin with Derrick James. You got an amazing team. Matter of fact, in All Access, in one of the All Access episodes, Spence is like, this is the dream team right here. We got the dream team here. Because there's something about Derrick James. He's teaching these fighters, man. He's teaching these fighters how to fight in that ring, man. And I think Anthony Joshua has the potential. Now, this is the thing about it. When he fought, was it Jermaine Franklin, if I'm not mistaken? He fought Jermaine Franklin, his last fight before this Dillian Whyte fight. Anthony Joshua, this was his first fight, if I'm not mistaken, under Derrick James, if I'm not mistaken. First or second. I don't know if when he had the rematch against Usyk, if Derrick James was in Anthony Joshua's corner. If so, whatever the case may be, Anthony Joshua hasn't been training with Derrick James much at all, okay? So that's the point. That's one point I gotta you know, bring out here. We got to understand, man, it takes time. It takes time for these, you know, fighters to acclimate to their coaches, especially if it's a new coach, man. It takes time to acclimate. And I personally think, man, that Derrick James, of course, is going to teach Anthony Joshua the fundamentals. But look at this. Look at this. Look, every fighter's different, okay? But look at that dog in Spence, man. I think Derrick James has taught him how to get that grit, how to apply the grit in that ring. That grit, that strength, that brute strength that you have in your size. Use it. I think Derrick James is teaching that to Spence, man. Of course, yeah, he was probably born with it. Spence was probably born with it and this and that, yeah. But the coach has a lot to do with it too, man. You know, the coach is training these fighters psychologically, mentally, physically, you know, emotionally, skill-wise, in many aspects. Sometimes we just think that coaches, you know, train fighters, you know, in the skill set. That's it. It's a lot more to it, man. Coaches are teachers, man. They teach you. They're mentors. They teach you in many things when it comes to help you in the fight game, when it comes to a fight. And I think Derrick James can implant that or ignite that fight spirit that Anthony Joshua once had, man. I really do. I really think he does. He can. You know, I think Anthony Joshua can get that fight spirit back. Do you think he can? I personally think he can. Now, the whole world and their mom is talking about, you know, oh yeah, Deontay Wilder. You know, it's funny because, you know, these reporters sometimes, I mean, sometimes the questions they ask annoy these fighters. You know, it just recently happened with Bivol. Bivol went off on whatever reporter it was, whatever platform it was. I read it out there in a headline a couple weeks ago that he's tired of being asked about freaking Canelo, man. I mean, Canelo is not Bivol, so stop asking Bivol so many freaking Canelo questions. He fought him, he beat him, okay, he's moving on, man. You know what I'm saying? Bivol got annoyed. And why am I saying this? Because everybody and their mom is asking Anthony Joshua about Wilder. What are you going to fight Wilder? And Wilder, you know, the deal about Saudi Arabia. What about Wilder? The end of the year Wilder and Wilder. You know, I think Anthony Joshua was to the point, and I think he mentioned it something like that in the interview, that, you know, they're all asking me about Wilder. You know, sometimes these reporters ask more what's after the fights that's in front of them. You know, and right now, Anthony Joshua, he's not gonna answer really any Wilder questions because that's not his focus right now. He's gonna fight Dillian Whyte. What I want to see is this, man. In this fight against Dillian Whyte, now we cannot take Dillian Whyte's skills away from him, man. We cannot take his skills away from him. Dillian Whyte got skills, man. He got power. He can catch Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua can have a little flashback that he had against freaking Andrew Ruiz and go down. Got to be careful, got to watch out. But I want to see, this is what I'm trying to say, I want to see that fight spirit back in Anthony Joshua. I want to see that old Anthony Joshua come back against Dillian Whyte in this Dillian Whyte rematch. I do definitely have Anthony Joshua beaten Dillian Whyte in the rematch, but who knows, man? Because Dillian Whyte, man, he got the power, he got skills, he can definitely catch you, he's rugged, he keeps going forward, he don't stop, he's a veteran, man. So we can't take that away from Dillian Whyte, man. But I personally think, man, if Anthony Joshua, we have to see more of that chemistry between Anthony Joshua and Derrick James. And Anthony Joshua loosening up more, man. Applying more of what he had before getting beat by Andy Ruiz. And I think Derrick James can bring this out of him, man. I'm definitely anticipating this rematch. Not so much because it's Dillian Whyte, but more because this is, you know, I think the second fight with Derrick James, and what Anthony Joshua is saying, that he needs that fight spirit back, he needs that warrior spirit back, because if he gets it back and he shows it in this rematch, Anthony Joshua is definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with in the heavyweight division. And I know a lot of people think that, you know, it's over with Anthony Joshua, he can't grow anymore. That may be the case. But if he gets that fight spirit back, I think he can be a very game opponent. I think he's, you know, top 5 in the sanctioned bodies. I really don't know. I haven't checked the rankings lately when it comes to the heavyweight division, at least. But Anthony Joshua definitely can be a force to be reckoned with in the heavyweight division, man. And if he fights Deontay Wilder after Dillian Whyte, I'm not so sure if he. But then again, man, Deontay Wilder, go freaking take care of Andy Ruiz. Y'all got to go take care of business. Y'all going back and forth on Instagram or whatever social freaking media. Freaking fight already. Freaking fight already, man. Andy Ruiz and Deontay Wilder, man, all this drama outside, you know, this is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. When it becomes too much on social media between fighters, I get tired of it. Freaking sign the contracts already. Everybody, this is a big fight. Andy Ruiz and Deontay Wilder. I definitely want to see that one. So, but if Anthony Joshua were to fight Deontay Wilder soon, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say there. But I do want to see this dog back in Anthony Joshua, man. I do. I want to see this fight spirit back in him, that warrior spirit. And I think he can do a lot with Derrick James. A lot with Derrick James. If I'm not mistaken, also this article talked about he's 33 years old. So Anthony Joshua's 33 years old. The clock is ticking. He probably doesn't have too much more time in his career left, man. You know, before he starts going downhill with the skills, with the speed, with the reflexes. So Anthony Joshua got to get it while he can, man. Especially since he's with Derrick James. I mean, good stuff. We'll see what happens. Question again, I ask you. Do you think that Anthony Joshua can get that warrior spirit back, that fight spirit back that he had before? I think he can. What do you think about it, man? Go ahead and comment in the comment section. You already know, man. RENEBOXYOUNG, a platform we simply discuss, critique, analyze, simply talk about sport of boxing in a level-headed, mature, coherent fashion. Thank you guys so much. RENEBOXYOUNG, peace!